What's up peeps, Rockskull here. Have you ever wondered how a specific hero got their weapons/abilities we currently see in Overwatch 2? Well, today I'm going to be going through every single hero to talk about the facts and theories on how these heroes got their abilities, starting with the tanks. D.Va's mech was given to her from the mecha squad she was part of in Korea, a group created by the government to have gamers control military mechs to defend Korea from the evil robotic Gwishon. Her guns and missiles are pretty self-explanatory, but when it comes to the defense matrix, as we see in the animated short, it works by literally shooting incoming projectiles coming towards the mech. The self-destruct is simply just overloading the mech like we see in the short as well. Doomfist's main weapon, the gauntlet, is actually something he stole from the original Doomfist, Adeyemi. This gives him all the crazy movement we see in game. His little hand cannon is likely something he made himself, as he grew up in a family that was well known for their prosthetics. Pretty much every single hazard ability is due to the vanadium crystal we see him steal from Oasis in his animated trailer. The prosthetics he has built around it is due to his friend Touch Up in the Freak Gang preparing him for it. The wall climb, however, is likely something he just gained from his military background, and time with the Freak Gang. Junkrat Queen's weapons seem to be likely things she scavenged from the Wasteland when she was a Wastelander, even the magnetized stuff. Her healing passive and commanding shout seems to be something she gains from an adrenaline rush with all of her battle experience and leadership skills. I'm not sure the actual science behind it other than possibly nanobots giving herself healing and health. We know because of a Sojourn interaction that Mauga actually stole his main chain guns from some kind of Overwatch mission in the Black Sand Fires near Tahiti. When it comes to his durability based abilities, cardiac and his passive, this is due to a 2-heart surgery he got after being severely injured. The only mystery when it comes to his kit is his cage fight ultimate. My only theory is that Talon just straight up gave it to him since they have access to that kind of tech, it seems. Orisa was originally one of the Aura 15 robots in Nimbani that were made to protect the city from the Omnic crisis. They failed to protect against Doomfist though, so Eevee gave her all the upgrades we see in game based around combating Doomfist in particular. How her spear works is a bit unknown, but if I were to guess, it's some kind of hard-like tech similar to what we see characters like Symmetra use. The Fortify seems to simply have her gain some kind of golden shell around her. Ramattra's base Omnic form is simply the design of the Ravager Omnics that were common in the first Omnic crisis. All of his other abilities, including possibly the Nemesis form, are from little nanobots he created himself most likely. I say the Nemesis form is likely nanobots because I mean the way he transforms is physically impossible otherwise. Reinhardt's hammer, abilities, and armor are those given to Crusaders during the first Omnic crisis. Most of these are fire/rocket based, but the shield is a form of hard-like technology. Roadhog's weapons and abilities are likely just ones he gathered from the Wasteland in his time there, with his gun shooting literal scrap. The healing he consumes is stated to be some form of petrol by Moira, and we can actually see on Junkertown he makes it himself. Sigma gained his powerful abilities by trying to harness the energy of a black hole. When its power became too strong he couldn't control it, gravity around him started to fluctuate at his will. This explains all of his abilities, with some of them like the hyperspheres and shield likely being things Talon made for him he controls with his powers. The Tesla cannon, jump pack, and shield are all things created by Winston himself with him being a scientist. The Primal Rage is a bit more of a mystery, but it seems to be implied that it has something to do with him being a genetically modified gorilla. Wrecking Ball's ball is something Hammond made himself when he escaped the moon on Winston's craft. The combat abilities it has are ones he added himself to compete in the scrapyard in Junkertown when he landed there. Most are straightforward, but the adaptive shields and mines are a bit more advanced. My only guess is that they use some kind of hard-like tech and/or propulsion system. Zarya's particle cannon is an experimental weapon given to her by the Russian military, because literally nobody else could carry it since it was so dang heavy. The weapon gives her all the abilities we see in game that likely use some form of hard-like technology. Ashe was always fond of rifles, and the Viper she uses in game is actually a 19th century one she stole from her family's manor before leaving. The coach gun and dynamite seem to be things she picked up along the way being the leader of the Deadlock gang, and Bob was literally her childhood robot butler made weapon that always stood by her side. Bastion's Omnic unit kind is what gave him his recon and sentry forms, but the A36 grenade and artillery configuration were upgrades made by Torbjorn to modernize Bastion. All are pretty self-explanatory. Cassidy was always fond of revolvers, and his trusty Peacekeeper was no exception, being made by a legendary blacksmith with custom high-caliber ammunition. A bit unknown how he picked up the flashbang, but if I were to guess, it was something he gained from his time in the Deadlock gang or Overwatch. The roll and Deadeye are probably his pro cowboy skills made into abilities. Echo's technology is pretty advanced, and also a bit unknown because of how much Dr. Liao hid from people. Based on her looks, however, I would assume most of it has to do with hard-like technology. It's also pretty obvious that her duplicate ability is based around her behavior, copying those around her to learn. It's currently unknown how Freja exactly got her weaponry, but her military and Overwatch background leads me to believe she got it from either of them. We do also know her cape uses maglev technology that Sigma pioneered, well, before he went insane. Sojourn. Genji got his combat training from Kiriko's mother, Ashe, and pretty much all of his augmentations to his agility and weaponry due to his cybernetic suit. This was created by Mercy when Genji was found devastatingly injured from his first fight with Hanzo, and it was given a bunch of combat augmentations, likely due to Overwatch realizing they could utilize Genji. When it comes to the Dragon Spirit and his ultimate, it's a bit unknown if it's actually some kind of spirit or hard light technology. In the past, they mentioned not wanting magical abilities in the game, but I find it hard to believe they ever really followed that with Zenyatta's and Kiriko's ultimates. I think it could be either still for Genji. Hanzo is the same as Genji, where he got his training from Ashe Yamagami, but where he got his bow is a little bit of a mystery. Hanzo apparently learned bowmanship skills from Ashe, so perhaps he just got it from her at some point. The Dragon ultimate and Stormbow ability is either a spirit or hard light as stated before. Junkrat always claimed to be an inventor, and as we can see from his place in Junkertown, he definitely created his own explosive weapons, likely gathering stuff from the radiated outback alongside Roadhog for weaponry. Mei's endothermic blaster is something we see her create in the Rise and Shine animated short to help her get signal. It actually turned out to be a good weapon, with it helping her create ice at will, so it gives her all the abilities we see in game. Her ultimate is just her robot companion Snowball going sicko mode though. Pharah's suit is called the Raptura Mark 6, a combat suit helix design with jump jets, a wrist-mounted rocket, and a ton of mini rockets that fire from the shoulders. Her rocket launcher weapon is simply one common among helix security. Reaper's cells have the ability to rapidly decay and regenerate, allowing him to become flesh and blood to a cloud of smoke in an instant. This was given to Reaper by Moira after being brutally injured in his fight with Jack. This is where his teleporting and wraith form come from. Reaper's shotguns seem to be literally created from cells in his own body, allowing him to constantly regenerate, which is why he throws used ones away. This explains how he can rapidly throw them around during his ultimate as well. Sojourn's cybernetics were at first required due to her having a rare disease where cells attacked her own body. She decided later to give these cybernetics combat abilities, as it would suit her wanting to join the Canadian military. She has rocket legs and the ability to transform her arm into a disruptor cannon. The railgun is something she gained from the Canadian Army, as they knew her cybernetics would allow her to handle the recoil of the prototype weapon. Soldier 76's main sprint ability is something he gained from joining the Soldier Enhancement program with his time in the US military. This program gave him great agility and strength. The pulse rifle is something he stole from an Overwatch base called Watchpoint Mesa, giving him his primary fire and helix rocket. The tactical visor and biotic field are a bit more unknown, but it is likely something to do with the US military Soldier Enhancement program or stolen from other Overwatch bases. After Sombra got attacked by the mysterious figure that's most likely forever going to be a plot device, she decided to get some cybernetic upgrades. These upgrades are ingrained in her brain and spinal cord, pretty much making her a living computer, allowing her to hack things through touch alone. It is unknown how she got her machine pistol, but my best guess would be that Talon gave it to her once she joined. Being one of Vishgard's hardlight architects, Symmetra has access to the most advanced hardlight technology, with the ability to create walls of hardlight that extend across an entire Overwatch map. The tech was originally used for only architectural purposes, but Symmetra has found ways to use it all for combat purposes we see in game. Torbjorn always had pro engineering skills, so to put it simply, he made all of his weapons, tools, turret, and abilities. Most of them have to do with molten lava, it seems. Tracer was one of the first to be in an experimental flight program, where she tested out the slipstream. Its teleporting ability malfunctioned with her inside, however, and she reappeared months later. Her molecules were desynchronized with the flow of time, until Winston came along and gave her the chrono accelerator. This kept her in one place, while also allowing Tracer to control the flow of time herself. This is how she has her main abilities. Her pulse pistols and pulse bomb are likely things provided by the Overwatch organization. Venture's smart excavator is something that was simply provided by the Wayfinders, giving Venture those abilities launching seismic charges at range, and of course drilling. Widowmaker was given her intense precision and combat skills by Moira Odirin when she was forcibly taken from her home by Talon. Her weapons and abilities are simply weapons Talon has that she was given. Onto the supports. Ana was one of the best snipers in her days of Overwatch, but after, she felt her needs would be better suited to a support combat style. This biotic rifle she uses in game uses biotic technology, little robots that Mercy and Torbjorn designed to help heal people quickly, but Ana uses it as well to damage enemies. Her sleep dart and nano boost is a bit unknown the origins of, but I'd wager she got them from her time in Overwatch somehow, or scavenged them from Talon. Both might use some form of nanobot tech as well. Baptiste has some real advanced weaponry he seemed to most likely scavenge in his time in the Caribbean Coalition. It includes a semi-automatic weapon, biotic healing, exo boots, temporary immortality field, and some kind of hardlight looking amplification matrix. All of these things he could have maybe got from his time in Talon too, but as stated by Torbjorn once, nanobots are super advanced for just a mercenary to pick up. Being a bit of a tinkerer like her father, Brigitte may have made a lot of weaponry and armor herself. The hard light shield and rocket flail is clearly based on Reinhardt's design. Torbjorn likely helped with certain things, though, like the biotic healing she most likely uses. The only thing I'm honestly a bit uncertain about is the logic behind her rally. I suppose it also uses some kind of nanobots as well to give people health, or maybe hard light armor of some kind? I'm unsure. Iliari was one of the children of the sun, so she gained many combat skills and weaponry. The weapon and her abilities are powered by her body when they do the solar threading process, which pretty much imbues the sun's power into their skin. The solar rifle controls a lot of this power, so that explains all of her abilities besides the turret. I'm quite uncertain how this works, but if I had to guess, Iliari transfers the sun's power into it to heal people similar to her rifle. Juno's spacesuit is a modified version of a Liu Chang spacesuit that gives her those hover boots to handle the Martian environment. It is unknown how she got her Mediblaster, Speed Ring, and Orbital Ray. I can only assume that the Mediblaster and Orbital Ray were biotic tech given by Overwatch to fit her combat style, and maybe the Speed Ring is some kind of sonic tech created by the Red Promise team on Mars to help navigate the Mars environment. Kiriko's grandmother was the one who taught her how to summon the Fox Spirit, which explains her healing, teleporting, and ultimate. As I stated with the Shimada brothers, these still could be just hard light technologies, or an actual magical spirit. The kunai, wall climbing, and general combat skills were taught by her mother. The protection Suzo is a bit of a weird one, but it feels like some sort of tech she may have stolen from the Hashimoto or something and used for herself. Lifeweaver is one of the only people in the world to create and mess with bio-like technology during his time in Vishkar. Its advanced properties give him the ability to literally create life with light. This explains his Thorns, Heal Blossom, Life Grip, Petal Platform, and Tree of Light, as they are all abilities created with bio-like tech. Lucio stole some sonic tech from Vishkar that was originally created by his father. This tech allows him to use sound to fire, boop, speed, heal people, wall ride with his skates, and create a sound barrier around people to protect them. He originally stole it to help his people combat Vishkar, but now uses it to help out Overwatch. Mercy was one of the major pioneers for nanobiology in her field, thus creating the healing we see in game on her staff with nanobots. This tech also seems to have damage boosting capabilities as seen with her Boo Beam, similar to Ana's Nano Boost. When it comes to her armor suit and wings, it was also made by herself and Torbjorn within her time in Overwatch, giving her capabilities to propel herself around the battlefield, as well as a visor to see allies that are critically injured. The Resurrect is a bit of a mystery with it seeming almost magical in nature, but if I had to guess, it's again just the work of nanobots quickly doing the medical work on a deceased target to bring them back to life. Moira Odirian is a scientist who will go to any means to make new discoveries in her field, and her kit is the perfect depiction of it. Her main work has to do with genetics, so if I had to guess, her biotic grasp literally steals the genes off people using nanobots, and then her heal is nanobots putting those genes onto others to heal them. The fate is likely similar to Reaper, where she literally has cells deconstruct themselves and be rebuilt in a new location. The coalescence is likely simply a mix of the grasp applied to a bunch of nanobots. Zenyatta is one of the few ones where we just don't know how his healing / damage capabilities work. Mercy claims his tech could be magical, but Zenyatta rebuttals it, saying it's simply science you don't understand. With that being said, I would then guess that maybe his tech is stuff the Shambali created for him with his time in it that we don't know the concept of. The only thing that might prove this wrong is that Transcendent's description literally states that he enters a higher state of existence while casting it, so it might all actually be something magical / spiritual with the iris, similar to the Shimada brothers and Kiriko. And that concludes going over how every hero got their abilities. I will say, even if there are some mysteries, I'm surprised how much detail and effort the Overwatch team seemed to put into making the majority of these weapons and abilities have some sort of backstory to them. Made this fun to research. You can let me know in the comments what you think, and what maybe your theories are about a certain weapon or ability. Overwatch lore is pretty scattered, so there definitely could have been something I missed here too. Thank you all for the support as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Rocks go, rocks go. All I want to do is stream all night. Lobby full, rocks go. Never gonna play with me, but it's alright.